Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? So if you're watching this for the first time, then my name is Marianne Hanson. I'm the owner and the therapist at New Journeys Counselling, where I provide counselling to couples. I also work with individuals. I specialise in relationships, but I also work with individuals with depression, stress and low self-esteem. You can also find some of my videos over on my other Facebook page, Coach Marianne Hanson. And I also have another page called A Debt-Free Life, and I've been making live videos on all of those channels today. You can also find me on Instagram as New Journeys Counselling, and you can find me on Twitter as NJ Counselling. So now that we've mentioned all of those things, I'm here in Malvern Hills, and I just thought I'd make this quick live video because it's based on personal experience, but also with any of my videos I'll try and provide informative advice. Now if you don't agree with some of the things I say, or you just think, well no, that wouldn't work for me, then that's also fine, and actually that's really good because I like to engage with people and I love to hear your comments. All the advice I give, or all of the information, is just based on my knowledge as a counsellor, but also some of it is personal experience. So I think you're going to like this video anyway. So for many people, when they get into an argument with their partner, or even just someone they're dating and it hasn't even got to that level yet, whether it's via text, whether it's via WhatsApp, whether it's on social media, or even face-to-face or the phone, there's this level where things usually, hi whoever's joining me, thanks for joining, please leave your comments and send me some likes if you like what you hear. Every time you get into an argument, there's this level where you have to make a decision. You know that it's heating up, the other person isn't backing down, and you have to make a decision. Am I going to keep going with this and carry on until I get this, the result I want, or am I going to walk away, or am I going to just stop? Now what I try to, I describe it as, really, the analogy is, say if you're a drinker, or if you're someone that goes out drinking, on your night out you're going to have had a few drinks and you get to a point in the night where you feel tipsy. We've all probably felt like that. I'm not a massive drinker, but I've been out and I felt tipsy. At that stage, usually I'll say something like, if I have one more drink, if people offer me a drink, or if I'll say no more, because if I have one more drink I'm going to be drunk. I'm tipsy at the moment, I can still see, I still know what I'm doing, so no more. That's my decision to stop right there, because I know one more drink is going to take me over the edge into drunkenness. You have to almost apply that in an argument, especially if it's by text. Texting is the worst types of arguments. Now I'm going to give my experience of this. Hi whoever's joined me, thanks for joining. We're talking about how to stop an argument from escalating. Texting is the worst platform to have an argument on, because you're going back and forth. You're not seeing the person, so you can't see their reaction. You can't guess how angry they are. It's all based on interpretation. Now, I'll give you my experience of this, not recently, but a few months ago. I was dating someone. We didn't know each other that well, and I think that's the worst time as well to have these disagreements. The person doesn't know you. They can't judge, you know, you as your personality or how far they can go. They said something, I didn't find it funny. I sent something back and said, you know, I think sometimes the stuff you say to me isn't very kind. They said, we're both like grown-ups, or something like that. We're just talking about feelings. I thought, fair enough, that's a point. I'm not going to overreact. But then they continuously, in discussions, this wasn't even a disagreement, continuous criticism, little things like, oh, take your counsellor hat off now, you're not talking to one of your clients, or your communication is terrible, or little digs. With the emojis afterwards. Now that's the worst thing, when people put emojis after to make it funny, but it's actually not funny, it's a serious thing. Hi whoever's joining me, thanks for joining. We're talking about how to stop an argument from escalating. Please leave your comments, you might have experienced this. So when you're going back and forth with the texting, I think the worst thing about texting is it's about interpretation, because it's words on a screen. You can't see that person, they can't explain what they meant. You're just seeing written words. And for a lot of us, we feel an emotion attached to those words. So when we see this message come through, it's how we interpret it. We then send a message back, they come back with another message, it goes back and forth, and you're stuck in this cycle. where it then becomes a disagreement and one of you eventually is going to say something which takes it over the edge. A good example of this, I remember years ago, I don't know whether to say celebrities because I don't want to get sued, but basically Peter Andre and his missus, you know who it was, so I'm not going to say her name. I remember I predicted that they were not going to stay together for long because of how, when they had arguments, how he spoke to her. He was bringing up the fact that she's a glamour model and he was using really derogatory terms towards her. Now, if that's your wife or your girlfriend, if you take it to that level more than once, even once, they're not going to forget that that's what you think of them and that's how you perceive them. Hi, whoever's joining me, thanks for joining. We're talking about stopping an argument from de-escalating. So in the situation, I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can stop this from happening. But the key thing, as I said in the beginning, is the analogy of, remember, if you just have that one more drink, it's going to take you over the edge. You're going to become drunk. So you can stop when you're tipsy. If you're in a disagreement and you can see it's going really far and none of you are backing down, you can stop. Instead of waiting for the other person to stop, instead of waiting for them to walk away, you can take responsibility for de-escalating it. So here are the 3 ways. Number 1 is the power of an apology. Hi, whoever's joining, thanks for joining. I can't see names of anyone, but I can just see people. So it's my phone. Sometimes it shows names, sometimes it doesn't. Number 1 is the apology, okay? The power of an apology, just saying, sorry, I didn't mean to say that, is really, really powerful. Now, it's really hard to do when you're angry with someone, because when you're in that argument, you're in the rage mode, you're in, you're angry. Everything that person says to you, they're attacking you, they're hitting you with this, they're hitting you that. The whole purpose of, like, when someone's angry is to hurt the other person in an argument, so they're not going to say nice things. And this is why me as a person now, I've recognised if I meet someone and I get into these disagreements, I don't even argue with people and I don't say like nasty things because I know it's not going to resolve anything. So I'm someone that I'll just ignore you. I'll just stop. I'll just end it. Even if I want to say more, I'll stop. I won't say more. I'll just say, right, they've won. I'll leave it at that. Because you then have the power. You're taking the power back. And when you say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, or I'm sorry that things have turned out this way. I'm sorry that we argued the way we did. It's so powerful because you're accepting responsibility for the whole situation, but you're also just taking responsibility for your side of things. You don't, when people, I've heard people say, I'm sorry for what happened, but I'm not sorry for what I said. Or I'm sorry for when you put a but after an apology, then it's not a real apology because you're still trying to be right. So all you really need to say in the middle of this texting back and forth, in the middle of the shouting on the phone and slamming the phone down, in the middle of standing in front of each other, calling each other names, just stop and just say, I'm sorry, let's stop this, I'm sorry for what I said to you. Okay, that's the first way to de-escalate. The second way is to give up the need to be right. The majority of arguments that go on for days, I've met couples and individuals that I've counselled. This one person years ago told me they were arguing for 3 hours. 3 hours arguing. And all I would say to that is because that person wants to be right. Both of the people want to be right. So if you give up the need to be right and you just say, look, I believe what I'm saying is right. I want you to accept me being right, but I know that that's not going to happen. Let's agree to disagree, and that's it. Now, that's really tough for a lot of people to do, partly because people are stubborn. People want that acknowledgement. I mean, as a counsellor, I know that people haven't been heard, and they come to the counselling room and it's the first time they've been heard and listened to by someone, and it really means a lot to them. But when you're in, hi, whoever's joining, thanks for joining. But when you're in the argument stage and your main aim or agenda is to be right, and for that person to say, okay, you're right, it's going to it is going to continue. So if you want it to de-escalate, you have to give up the need to be right. So you can say something along the lines of, I think I'm justified for what I'm saying to you. I'm sorry it's turned into this. I'm sorry we're getting into it like this. I still believe that I'm right. but you believe that you're right. We're not going to agree on it, so let's agree to disagree. Let's just put it to bed. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to talk about it later, but I just think you have to make a decision at that point. Is it worth going back and forth with? So that's it, really. And the third way to stop an argument from de-escalating is to just stop, check yourself, recognise what could be at risk here, what you could lose. Now, in lots of cases, sometimes when the arguments are going back and forth or going on for a long time, people are saying hurtful things, calling each other names, going below the belt, doing all sorts of things, maybe even throwing things at each other, putting the phone down and all that stuff. You're in the rage state, so your emotions are riding high. You've got this adrenaline going, but also you're not thinking rationally, because anger doesn't allow that to happen. You just want to get that person to, you want to win. It's basically a battle and you're going back and forth to win. When you stop, especially when texting, and I've done this myself, I've gone back and forth with the text, and every time you read a text and it's saying something worse, you're like, right, I've got to respond to that text. You don't even wait to read it all. I've done that. I've read a text and I've seen the first few sentences and I've been like, right, and I've replied back and said something worse, or said, why did you say that? And then if you stop, pause, whether it's to go and get a drink, whether it's to just go for a walk, think about what's happening, recognise that this is getting out of control now. I don't want things to continue, because if I say one more thing, then I'm going to lose this person, or if I continue with this, it's going to be upsetting for me. I'm not going to be happy about the outcome. So it's about that time. It's about making a decision. It's recognising that things have gone too far. I think if people did that more, then if people apologised more, if they gave up the need to be right, and if they kind of stopped themselves mid-argument when it was getting like below the belt, and they said, you know what, this isn't worth it. If I tell him he's rubbish in bed, he's going to think about that after the argument, you know what I mean? And then he's going to have like insecurity issues. If I tell her she's this or she's that, or that I'm seeing another person just to hurt her when it's not true, she's going to have trust issues then. If I say I want a divorce, then even though we get back together and things are fine, she's going to remember that. So you've always got to remember that if you can stop things from getting that far. So they're the 3 ways to try and de-escalate. I believe these are things that would really work, because my experience is when I've had like an apology, when someone has kind of gone too far and then they've apologised, it has like melted me a little bit. When I've given up the need to be right and I've just said, you know what, I know that I'm right. They might not hear me, they might not understand this, but is it worth it? Or I've stopped myself. Then for me, it's how you feel within yourself. You can't ever control another person. You can only control what you do. So I hope this video has been useful. As always, if you want to make a counselling enquiry, then this is probably a good page to do it on, my business page, NU Journeys Counselling. You can also send me an email at nujourneys@yahoo.com. You can find all my other contact details on this page, and also you can find me on the counselling directory. That's where a lot of people actually make their referrals through there. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please comment. I love reading people's comments. Thank you for everyone who joined me live. Enjoy your evening. I'm going to be going over to my coaching page, Coach Marianne Hanson, in probably 10 to 15 minutes to do my final live video for the evening. Have a fantastic weekend and thanks for watching. Bye.